So tell me how I tried to film a campus tour video and it starts pouring outside.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you.
Alright, so we have made it to the Armstrong Recreation Center. Probably this is the place that I've spent the most of my time throughout my whole 4 years, and that even counts more than my room. So if you haven't known, I've worked at Campus Recreation for all 4 years that I have been here. I was an intramural sports referee. Whew, that is not for the faint of heart. I was an intramural sports supervisor. I was a fitness instructor, also a fitness student supervisor. So as you can tell by my positions at the Recreation Center, I know a great deal of information, so I'm going to try to portray it to the best of my knowledge. This used to be the Armstrong Sports Complex, I believe, when it was Armstrong, but now it is the Student Recreation Center at Georgia Southern University, Armstrong campus. So please keep in mind that this is the second smallest campus. You know, there is the RAC, which is on the Statesboro campus, and that is a huge gym. This is a pretty decent sized gym, and I honestly love it. You can rent out basketballs, volleyballs, ping pong equipment, because we do have a ping pong table. Also disc golf equipment, because that is something that has been a recent addition to our campus recreation, is our new disc golf course. Now, it's not that new. It's probably been here for about 2 years now, actually, I think. But it's definitely something to do outside and to enjoy this beautiful campus. Now in here, of course, you also have your group fitness classes, anything between dance, hip hop. We have Zumba. We also have rhythm ride classes where you're on the bike. We have strength and conditioning classes, meditation, bars, Pilates, you name it. It is super fun, and I might be a little biased because I am a group fitness instructor, but it is a super fun time. We also have events that go in here every semester, such as Glowcella, which is where we bring out all of our dance instructors and we have a dance party on the gym floor. Another thing that we have going on is intramural sports and tournaments. We have ping pong tournaments, cornhole tournaments, we have disc golf days. Also, we have basketball, volleyball, flag football out on the intramural fields. We also have soccer and kickball on the intramural fields as well. And lastly, another thing that we have going on at the Recreation Center is that we have Southern Adventures. Very good for the Armstrong campus is that we're very fortunate to have a trail park near us, and then also a dock to go kayaking on. So basically to say that we have kayaking trips and biking trips and sometimes hiking trips for free. All right, so that's it about the Recreation Center. Sorry if I talk too long. I love this place and I have a lot of great memories here. Once again, it is where I mostly spent my time, and I made a lot of accomplishments here. I made a lot of friends, and then also people that I hope to keep in contact with after I leave here. But next, we are going to go to the Advising Center. Let's go. All right, so this is one part of the Advising Center, also known more as the Student Success Center. So on this side is where we have our TRIO services, which are for first generation students who are coming to college. If you're a first generation student coming to the Armstrong campus, please apply to be in TRIO. It has done tremendous things for me. I've gotten scholarships. I've been able to volunteer in the community, to network with people in my community, and they made me more knowledgeable about other resources on campus that can help me out. They have a food pantry available to students where you can donate items, but also you can take items that you need, such as toilet paper, canned goods, pasta, things like that, just to hold you over if you need it. Other than that, we have our Career and Professional Development office in here. It is never too early to start going to the Office of Career and Professional Development. I hope you heard me now. Regardless if you go to the Armstrong campus, you go to the Statesboro campus, you go to another university, please utilize the Office of Career and Professional Development or the Career Services Department at your university, because it can do tremendous things for you even at the start of your freshman year. It's much more than just applying to a job. It's learning how to keep that job. It's learning how to search for that job. It's learning how to network with people. And I was just told a statistic. I don't know the actual statistic, let's just say a majority of people who gain their jobs is from networking. It's not from, applying blindly to a position and hoping that you get it. It's from knowing someone on the inside and getting it. Moral of the story, utilize the career services at your university. And this one has a really great one, and they really cater to students. They provide workshops as well every once in a while. And you can just set an appointment on your Georgia Southern website and you'll be good to go. All right, so now we are in the advising side of the Student Success Center. And it's basically to help you succeed throughout your whole 4 years here, right? So in here, this is where you can find your academic advisor to help you with any problems that you are having with academics. Also in here, I believe is where they put the tutoring now. Other than that, there are plenty of rooms in here for you to use for your academic studies, also group study sessions, and then yeah, you could just study away. All right, we're going to move on to our next location. Let's go. All right, so this place is very nostalgic for me because this is where our old recreation center used to be. And I remember coming here for Zumba classes and actually for all the dance classes every single day. Like freshman 15 was not getting me. I was here Monday through Friday, and then I came on my own time on Saturday to work out occasionally. But now in here, they actually just transitioned in here is the Office of Multicultural Affairs. I don't know as much information that I would like to know about the Office of Multicultural Affairs, but I've had really good experiences through the Office of Multicultural Affairs. Two things that I can think off the top of my head is that every time during the semester, they have celebrations, and one of them is like the Holi Festival. So they'll have like Color Splash, and they'll have authentic food that you can try, and it's very immersive, and it's just a really great opportunity to learn something new. Another thing is that I think this past semester was the first time that they did it. I don't know, I could be wrong, but we had an MLK trip. I believe it was completely free. I don't remember paying anything, but you do have to reserve for it, and it was all day. The Office of Multicultural Affairs rented a bus for us, and we all loaded on the bus. I think it was like at 6 a.m. And then we headed to Atlanta, Georgia. So Armstrong campus is in Savannah, Georgia. We headed to Atlanta, Georgia for a whole day, went to museums, went to where Martin Luther King spent some of his life at. And it was just very, once again, immersive in the education of something that you don't really get to do really anywhere. Like I said, I wish that I knew more about the Office of Multicultural Affairs. Ooh, another thing is that when you graduate, they have different celebrations for specific groups of graduates. So for instance, for all Black and Brown students on the Armstrong campus who are graduating this past semester, they had a ceremony where they celebrated us, and they gave us cords, and they had food, and it was just a really great time. Also, they have a graduation ceremony for Latin students as well, and they have one for the LGBTQ community as well. This office is all about inclusivity, and I know that they have student workers in there as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely check out student jobs that they have available through the Office of Multicultural Affairs. Other than that, we're going to head to our next spot. All right, so this is the Biology Center. So if you are a nursing major or anything science related, you're probably going to spend most of your time in this building. Even if you're none of those, you're probably going to step in this building at least once, because this is where your mainstream science classes are going to happen, such as Biology 1 or Anatomy 1 or any of those classes that you must take within your core requirements. It's going to be in here. At Armstrong, the most that I've ever had in a classroom was probably like 80 students, but on average, you have about 30 students. So in your lab classes, you'll probably have about 25 to 30 students in your classes, but in your lecture classes, try to expect anything from 30. Sometimes you do have 30 people in your lecture classes, but if it's like a mainstream class that everybody is taking, expect anywhere between 80 people. This beautiful building is called the Science Center, and it has 2 stories of multiple classrooms, and it has a beautiful bridge that goes across to the building next to it. And that building has more classrooms, and it has that second tutoring center that I was talking about. Most of the tutors that we have here are students, so they know what you're going through and they have fresh knowledge because they either just took the course or just brushed up on their knowledge, right? All of the experiences that I've had with the tutoring center have been great. Now, I shall say I haven't been to the tutoring center in the past 2 years, but freshman and sophomore year, I really utilized them and they really helped me. Like, I'm not even joking. Science is not my strong suit at all. I got a C in my first biology course, and when I'm talking about a C, I got a 70.2%, something like that. I just passed. I tell this story to encourage people, but I decided to take an advanced level of biology my sophomore year. Why did I do that if I was about to fail the first one? I don't know why. And it wasn't even like I wasn't studying. Like, I was. I just really didn't get the concepts of things. But that class that I took for my sophomore year, the advanced biology course, I think there was an average of like a B- in that class. I got an A+ in that class, and I kid you not, I did not do it all by myself. It took multiple trips to the tutoring center. It took study groups that I had with people in my classroom. And it took me taking the time to go to the library to study extensively, like really deep dive study. Talking about the library, it's another one of my favorite places on this campus, and we're gonna go there next. So look at this beautiful library. Oh my goodness. Something about me is that I've always loved libraries. I've always loved libraries. It makes me feel calm. And I don't know, I just love it. It's a place of productivity. Even when I don't want to be productive, I come to the library and I get some work done. So this is one of our biggest study areas on the Armstrong campus. This is the Lane Library. So in here, of course, you can check out books if you're into reading. And here, they also implemented something within the past year called the Brain Booth. In the Brain Booth, there's a massage chair, there's puzzles for you to do, there's crafting equipment, anything to help you de-stress and also stimulate your mind to get in the study zone or to get away from the study zone. Aside from books that you can check out, I want to let you know that you can also do a rental of textbooks, certain textbooks in here. Before I buy my textbooks, I come and see if the library has a loan process that I can do. Basically, what that means is that you're not able to actually check out the textbook, but you can use the textbook for 2 hours while you're in the library. I found this as a very great resource for me because I knew some of these textbooks I would never use again, and I don't like reselling things. So that kind of took that away. 70% of my textbooks at all of my college journey, I have found at the Lane Library. To be realistic with y'all, the ways that I've gotten my textbooks for university, because textbooks can be really expensive, is by going to the Lane Library and doing the in-library loan where I have it for 2 hours. That really helped me freshman and sophomore year because I was taking a lot of those core classes, and it is more often than not, if you have a very popular class, that the professor will put a textbook in there for students to use. So please come and check that out beforehand. Other ways that I have rented textbooks are through websites that give a discount, but also sometimes just asking the professor themselves if they have a student that has given them back a textbook, so another student like me can use the textbook, or if the professor has a textbook for me to rent or to use for the meantime until I can get enough funds to get another textbook. I kind of want to be transparent about financial situations because college is expensive, and I tried my best to save every dime that I could while I was here, and I think I did a pretty good job. Other than that, the Lane Library has 2 floors. First floor is like a regular library. You can just chill, you can go on a computer. There are also lounge areas where you can just relax. You can read a book, you can work on your laptop. And then the second floor is quiet zone. I'm not even kidding that the second floor, you can take a nap up there as long as you don't snore. Like, it is awesome. But that is the Lane Library. It is one of my favorite spaces aside from the Recreation Center on this campus, and it will dearly be missed Oh my goodness, I have so many great memories in there. The people that work there quickly learned my name very quickly freshman year because I was in there every single day. Also sophomore year, I was in there when we came back from COVID. Junior year, I was in there occasionally, but senior year, I haven't really been in there that much. It will always be home. It'll always feel like home. And I truly love it in there. The staff is great. The atmosphere is great for studying. If you like a quiet area or minimal talking area, it is a very nice place. And I recommend you use it on your time at Georgia Southern or at any university that you choose. Yes. Now we are at the beautiful Learning Commons. If silent studying is not your thing, come to the Learning Commons. This is where you have your mostly group studying activities, but also if you need like a more lively thing, kind of like if you are more used to studying in like a Starbucks area, this is your place. Now, although there's no coffee shop in the Learning Commons, we do have a Starbucks on campus, and I'll get into that later. Like I said, the Learning Commons is really great for group studying. They have rooms that you can reserve online, and those rooms are typically big enough to fit maybe like 4 people in them. If you and a group of friends would like to study together or even just hang out to play board games, you can come to the Learning Commons and rent out a room for I think 2 hours at a time. And they have rooms that can accommodate for anybody from 2 people up until, let's say, like about 6 people. Other than that, they also have computers in there that you can use. They have MacBooks. So in there, they also have computers for you to use. They have Dell or Windows, one of those. But then they also have Apple products as well, like PC, MacBook. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, they have both of those options available for you. So you could choose what you want. Now, I did mention board games. You can actually rent board games and video games. I don't think movies. I think only board games and video games from out of the Learning Commons. And I think it's only available to you to like about maybe 3 days or 7 days. It's one of those, but no longer than a week for sure. Other than that, something that the Learning Commons and the Lane Library do have in common is that I believe you can rent out charging equipment, and also you can rent out like laptops for, I think it's either a day or for a week. I need to brush up on my knowledge, but you can rent them out if something happened to your laptop and you're waiting for a new one, or if you need something to hold you over, anything like that, you can rent them for free from the libraries as long as you go through them. Another thing that they both have in common is that these are the prime places for you to print things, print notes, print projects, print whatever you want. You have, I think, 1,500 printing points. And trust me, I have never used 1,500 printing points in a semester. I think you get it every semester. I haven't even come close to using that many printing points. So you have an abundance amount and you'll be able to print whatever your heart desires. But please save the trees, care about your environmental wellness, and don't print unless you absolutely need to, or if it will really help you with whatever you're printing, right? One thing I do want to add in is that you can do like all the printing styles, like black and white or color. You can print 1-side page, 2-side page, but you cannot insert your own paper. You basically print from the computer, you press a couple of buttons, and then you put in your Eagle ID, which is what you will get if you are a student at Georgia Southern, and it'll print it for you. You go to a desk kiosk, and then you put in your Eagle ID again, and then you print whatever you need, but you can't input your own paper or anything like that. It'll just print it for you. So that's something that I kind of didn't like. But if you need to print like certain paper types or certain paper dimensions, I encourage you to buy your own printer, because none of the services on campus allow you to print with your own paper, to the best of my knowledge. All right, so I did mention Chick-fil-A, so that's where we're gonna go next. All right, so this is where Chick-fil-A is. Chick-fil-A is on this side. Everything is closed right now. It is the weekend. Everything is closed. Also, keep in mind that I'm filming this during the summer. There's not any people on campus during the summer. So letting you know that. All right, so I am in the eating hall. This doesn't really have a name to it for all I know, but this is where Chick-fil-A is. Also Southern Cafe, which is where they sell paninis, soups, and things like that. Kind of like your Panera Bread in a way. That's kind of like what that place is. All right, and here, if you are not on a dining plan or if you are not going to the dining commons, which on the Armstrong campus, it is called the galley. That's where it's like a cafeteria style, buffet style type of eating. If you are not doing that, they have other options here for you. So we do have Chick-fil-A on campus. We have a shop called Southern Cafe, which is where you can get paninis and soups and chips. And then also we have a Starbucks if you go around the other side. And yeah, you can use certain dollars on your Eagle ID card. I think they're called dining dollars. I haven't used them in a while. That's why I don't really know. It's either called Eagle Express or dining dollars, but you can use money on your card. If you put money on your card or if you were given money on your card, and you can use it to purchase food at any of these places on campus. So that's super cool. Hey y'all, okay, I am right near the Starbucks, which is right behind me. It is a super cool place where you can come. I think some people study in there, but you can come and get a drink every once in a while, you know, a coffee, a refresher. You know what Starbucks is like. It's the same thing here at Armstrong. But this is super new. So all of the seating that you see in my background, this is new. I literally came in here like maybe 3 weeks ago and none of this was here. So this is new. They are renovating this place. This place has been like this, I want to say, for the past year, like the renovations. And I'm not quite sure what they're making a difference for, like what is it going to turn into. But my guess is that they're going to turn this place into like a community lounge, if that makes sense. So a place that people could chill. It will only make sense to me because they have the food over there. They have very nice seating here. It looks communal, like there's bar stools, a couch bar stool, which I've never seen before. There's a couch stool that I've never seen before. Like that's super cool. Other than that, yeah, I can't really think what else they would turn this place into. And I'm kind of sad that I'm leaving because I'm kind of nosy on what it's going to turn into. If you're watching this years from now, please let me know what they turn this place into because I am very interested what it will be. Other than that, let's go to some academic buildings, you know, to do that segment of this campus tour. All right, so this is Solom's Hall. This is where the Honors College is housed. I was in the honors program and I had tremendous experiences with them. Let me talk about a couple of them. So one of the most recent experiences that I've had is that I got the chance to present my honors thesis research to a group of people after working on it for the past 2 years. I did my honors research on student movement and engagement within classrooms. In regards to that, seeing what teacher perspectives were on movement in the classroom. Did they like it? Did they use it? Did they not use it? Did they dislike it? I was interested in all of the sorts. Aside from my research experience, Honors has also introduced to me, along with Trio, to other campus resources and departments. So one of the main ones that it introduced me to was alternative breaks, where you can get volunteer experiences. That is one requirement for the honors program, is that you do have to have volunteer experience or an internship experience or all of that sorts. If you get admitted into the honors program, you will find out all of that, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. In Solom's Hall, you will also have maybe electives in here. Sometimes I know they have language classes in here, or just really random electives that you would have. But yeah, that's all about Solom's Hall. Honestly, there are like about maybe 4 more buildings that are kind of like Solom's Hall. It's like the same structure. I'll talk a little bit about them. So yeah, behind Solom's Hall is actually Hall's Hall. Say that 10 times fast. But it is actually where you will have all your history and social study classes. And yeah, that's what Hall's Hall is on the other side of this. On the other side of campus, like it is still on this side, but you got to jump a few buildings. That is where Gamble Hall is. That is where your language classes are, for the majority of them are, and also your English and language arts and writing classes, literature classes. Yeah, that's what Gamble Hall is. It's like the same build as Hall's Hall and Solom's Hall, so you don't really need to see it. So in Solom's Hall, these are where you have your smaller classes, also in Hall's Hall and also Gamble Hall. All of the other academic buildings is where you'll have your class sizes from about 25 to 40 people. Mainly it averages out around 30 people, so no need to worry about it. It's kind of like your standard high school class, which is something that I really like about the Armstrong campus. The Armstrong campus is very intensive, I should say, because you're able to speak to the professor more one-on-one if you need it, or you can actually participate in class. I know a lot of the times at bigger universities or on bigger campuses, that could be a very hard thing to do if you're not the most outspoken. But on Armstrong campus, it becomes a lot easier, and oftentimes you're with a cohort and you become very close with your classmates and you're able to help each other out in the studying process, and also just building relationships, networking, right? Very beautiful. So in between Psalms Hall and Halls Hall is actually the International Garden. We are not going to go through it, but there is a amphitheater in there, which is basically like an outside classroom to my understanding. Some professors will go out there and have classes if it is a very beautiful day outside. Also within the International Gardens, there's at least one plant from every continent except for Antarctica, right? If you can see that this campus is very beautiful and it is within nature, which is another thing that I love about the Armstrong campus. It is very beautiful. And if you're an outdoorsy person, you like to take walks, strolls, what a beautiful place, what a beautiful canvas to see, right? But here is Halls Hall for all my history majors out there. This is where you're going to spend most of your time. Over here across the way is Gamble Hall. It is the same structure. And that is where the president is housed, as they shall say. But that is also, if you're looking for an on-campus job, go to Burnett Hall and you can get a job and talk to HR. Now here in the middle is a fountain, one of our fountains on campus, and we call it the Quad. Now, if you do come here, I don't know if they're still telling the story to freshmen, but when I came here as a freshman, they told me if I ever were to get lost on campus, but I knew where the Quad was, I can just go to the Quad and I will be in the middle of campus, basically. If you stand over there, you will be able to find most of the academic buildings. Here is a little section where I remember my freshman year, something that encouraged me to get a skateboard. Well, I have a longboard. That's how I'm getting these beautiful shots today. But something that encouraged me to get a longboard is I used to see people skateboard right here. And I still remember it as clear as day. And it was so cool with the water going and people walking around. It was just such a vibe with like people sitting down, having their lunch, having conversations. It was just such a vibe. And that really made me want to get a longboard to have that nostalgic feeling. All right, so this is the student union. This is where most of the fun activities happen. This building has 2 stories. Up on the 2nd story is where we have a lot of the university programming board events. It can go anywhere from tie-dye parties to dance parties to silent disco parties, mystery dinners, anything. And also I do think that they take suggestions as well. So if you ever want to suggest anything, feel free to let them know, but they constantly have events throughout the year. Also within the 2nd floor of the student union is a theater. So sometimes the university programming board, which is one of the departments that hosts fun activities on campus, they have a movie night, I think like once a month, and they'll show like popular movies like Spider-Man or like comedies or cartoons, things like that. But they'll show that on the 2nd floor in one of our theaters. On the 2nd floor is where you can also find volunteer services. I want to talk about this because this has been a very big part of my time here at Georgia Southern, specifically alternative breaks and Nick Mamalakis. So Nick Mamalakis is an emerging leaders program where you learn how to become a leader and you take a leadership course and it has changed over time, but to my understanding now, the way that the program works now, so you take a leadership course to discover yourself as a leader and also learn how to work within groups, and you can take furthering courses. When I was in Nick Mamalakis, I did have to take those furthering courses, but I think they took those off of the requirements now. But basically the furthering courses are for you to learn how to be a leader in a group, and then also to learn how to showcase your leadership to anywhere you go. It was a very insightful experience, and I'm very excited to see where it goes within the next couple of years. Other than that is Alternative Breaks. Like I mentioned, Alternative Breaks is a volunteer immersive experience where you can do just a weekend or you can do a week-long trip. Now, those week-long trips are during like winter break, or you do take your spring break to go on those week-long trips, but it is a super fun experience. You get to meet people not only on Armstrong campus, but also on Statesboro campus. I have some friends over there that I would have not met if it wasn't for Alternative Breaks, and I'm very grateful for those opportunities. But all in all, Alternative Breaks is a volunteer experience where you go out into your community or you serve a community and you focus on the sustainable development goals. So whether if you're focusing on poverty or quality education, anything of that sort, you will be able to go to a community. The weekend ones, it'll be your own community. For the week-long ones, sometimes you are able to travel, but you will not be able to know where you're going until you sign up and commit to the trip. Because that's one thing that I do love about Alternative Breaks, is that it's not about where you're going, it's about what you're doing, and if what you're doing is truly having an impact. Knowing where you fall on the active citizen continuum, which is like a whole thing, but basically, are you just going through your daily life, or are you giving back to the community? Do you know the impact that you are having on the community? Are you truly helping, or are you just saying that you're helping? Like, what is the benefit that they are truly getting from your service? Definitely check out Alternative Breaks, because that was one of the biggest highlights that I had on my college journey, and I'm so glad that I was able to do that. And I also served a board position, so they do have leadership positions that like that. You can either be a one-time volunteer, you could be a multi-time volunteer, or also you can take on a board position and be involved with Alternative Breaks throughout the whole year. Other than that, there are a lot of organizations on campus, and this is where you can find out more information about that as well. So you do get a lot of emails sent to you. Make sure to check your email. Throughout those emails, there's going to be talks about organizations. You can start your own organization. I had the opportunity to start a wheel organization. I called it We Will, and it was basically for people who like bikes, skateboarding, longboarding, things like that. Not as successful as I thought it was, and sadly it's not able to continue into future semesters, but it was fun for the 1 year that we did have it created. But yeah, you can create your own organizations. You can join organizations. Also, Greek life as well is a thing here on campus. So get involved. This is a place where you can get involved and you can find out information on how to do so. On the bottom half of the student union, you have the galley, which is our dining commons, also known as our cafeteria. If you have a meal plan, you'll eat there. Even if you don't have a meal plan, you can also eat there. Now, I will let you know it is more expensive to swipe with a credit card rather than swiping with the Eagle ID. So what I'll encourage you to do, if you know you're going to eat there often and you don't have a meal plan, there is a machine right outside of the galley where you can swipe your Eagle ID. You can put in your credit card, put money on your Eagle ID, and then you can swipe your Eagle ID, and I think it's like $1 or $2 less than swiping your credit card if you go eat. So make sure you do that. There's also the university store in there. Now the university store has our on-campus quote-unquote convenience store called the Gus Mart. When I first got here, the Gus Mart was kind of on the other side of the building, but now they merged the two to be together. I'm not sure what they're going to make that side where the Gus Mart was into. So once again, if you're watching this years later, please let me know what they make it into. Downstairs in the student union, there's plenty of spaces to sit in there. You can have lunch with a friend outside. There's also microwaves to microwave your food if you're bringing lunch to campus and you're a commuter. Other than that, there is the IT tech desk. So if you're having any trouble with Wi-Fi, with technical issues that you're not able to solve yourself, go to the IT desk. They know what they're doing. Go ahead and do that and get that all sorted. But yeah, that's the student union. All right, so this is University Hall. This was the academic building that I was in the most because this is where majority of your education classes are going to be if you're in the College of Ed. Other than that, there's also sociology, which is my minor. There's criminal justice and criminology, political science and international studies in here. And also there's health sciences. And I believe they still have engineering housed in University Hall as well. So yeah, there's nothing really major to University Hall. It is a beautiful architecture that is within here. There's classrooms all along here that you will have your classes in. Also, there's plenty of places to sit and to study on your own time in between classes if you would like. Now, one thing I do want to say before I leave this building is that if you are an education major, we have a resource center in this building that you should absolutely use. So there's a resource center for education majors specifically within this building, and you can rent out technology that you can use for your school placements. There's a lot of big workspace areas that you can utilize. Also, there's very friendly staff in there. If you have any questions about anything, they will be more than happy to help you. Also in there, you can rent out children's books that you can use in your elementary classroom if you're an elementary education major. And aside from technology that you can rent out, there are also supplies that you can rent out, such as manipulatives. You can use like robotic things. There's just a lot of different things. I personally haven't utilized any of the technical stuff. I've utilized the manipulatives in the elementary education books, but none of the technical stuff. Actually, there are like iPads and computers that you can rent from the education program as well. But I think it's only for education majors, and they do have certain hours that they are open. So make sure to check whenever they're open and you'll be able to get that settled.